Hello my fellow knights and warriors. This is my first video about Squad Leader, a game which is considered to be mother of all modern tactical scale games. I get this game by accident. Some friends were telling me, "Come on dude, you must play Advanced Squad Leader someday." Well, I gave this game a try and I found it a bit too complex and a bit more clunky for my tastes. I don't mean this is bad game. Well, I think that there are some good sides of this game, and that's why a lot of people love it, but I prefer less complex and faster games. And then someone told me, well, if you don't like Advanced Squad Leader, why don't you try OG Squad Leader? I was quite skeptical about it, but I decided that it won't hurt to try. And surprise! I found that OG Squad Leader is actually the game I was looking for. It is not as complex as Squad Leader in its advanced version. It is pretty fast and it is quite easy to learn. Why? Because rules are separated into sections and each section has its own scenario to learn. So you can get some rules and you already get a scenario that you can already play with these rules. So it is quite a cool way to learn the game, which is not that easy, but also not as complex and as its advanced version. So I decided to make a couple of videos about Squad Leader because, again, surprise, I found that there is a lot of videos about Advanced Squad Leader, but when it comes to original Squad Leader, there aren't many of them. So maybe this scenario, this play will fill the gap. Of course, I know this game is old. It is much older than me. So I know that there are probably many veterans who play this game since 70s. If you are among them, and you will notice that I am making some mistakes in my play, you are much more welcome to point them and to tell me, "Come on dude, you are doing this and that wrong." I will be much grateful for such comments, because it will help me to learn this game better. So, today I am going to play Guards Counterattack. This is the very first scenario for the Squad Leader, and it requires only a part of the original rules to learn. In this scenario we are only playing on the part of the board 1, and the battle takes place in Stalingrad, October 6, 1942, and in this scenario Soviets are about to attack. This group, these are guards, they are trying to capture several buildings controlled by the Germans, but the Germans are not going to give them easily to Soviets. To win the battle, Soviets have to capture at last 2 buildings that are initially occupied by Germans. But if Germans will capture some buildings that were initially occupied by Soviets, then Soviets must capture more buildings. So I think it pays for Germans to be an active player, not simply stay and defend your buildings, but also try to seize some of the buildings that are actually already occupied by Soviets. It will make things much harder for Soviets. I will try to play this game rules-wise, and I will try to explain some things, so if you never heard about Squad Leader, maybe this video will give you a good picture about what this game is about. There are some detailed tutorial videos about the rules themselves on the YouTube that you may find about Squad Leader, but there aren't many actual plays, so I hope this video will fill this gap. And I will have fun, because this is what really matters here too. So that's all for the introduction. We can start the game. In this game we are going to play 5 turns, and in each turn both sides have its half. So first we have turn 1 and Russians are first player. So we have to do all the Soviet phases, and then we have to do same phases for Germans. Then we have turn 2 and until the end of turn 5. I don't know how long it will take. I noticed that squad leader is definitely faster than advanced squad leader, but I am not a very veteran player. I get this game a couple of months ago. I played a couple of scenarios, so I think I have a general idea of the rules, but like I said before, you are much more welcome to point if I will make any mistakes in my play. So, let's go and start our game. So, we have turn 1 and Soviets are first to move. A first phase is a rally phase, when you have to rally your broken troops. We don't have any broken troops to rally, so we can skip this phase. Next we have prep fire phase. In this phase, all the Soviet units who have enemy in their line of sight might fire at Germans, but if they will do so, they won't be able to do much else in this turn. They won't be able to move, which is more important here. But I think I am going to do some firing because I want to make Germans bit more weaker. So, how to fire? First number on each counter shows you the unit's firepower. So these guys have firepower of 4, these guys have firepower of 6. And I'm going to make a fire group. Fire group is a group of several units that are on the adjacent hexes to each other, and they can join their firepower to fire together on the single target. The only problem is that they have to be on the adjacent hexes. So for example, these 3 squads can form a fire group, but this squad can't join this fire group because it is not adjacent to any other part of this fire group. So they are going to fire together, so they have 4, 4 and 4. This is 12. And now the target is going to be this German squad. It owns medium machine gun, so this is definitely a formidable opponent. So they have 12 and they are firing on the enemy which is in the stone building. A unit which is in the stone building has +3 for the die roll modifier. So we are going to fire with firepower of 12 and modifier of 3 because of the stone building. So we are going into charts and we are going to use infantry fire table chart with a column of 12, which is our firepower number, and we have to make 2d6 roll and add +3 to the die roll because of the building modifier. So let's make a roll. I will do it here. And we have 7, 4 and 3 +3, so this is 10. 10 in the column of 12, this is nothing. That's not a very good fire. So they already fired, so we have to mark them as prep fired, and they won't be able to move in their movement phase. Alright, now this group wants to fire as well. The target will be this German squad with light machine gun. Our Soviets have firepower of 4 and they own medium machine gun which has firepower of 4. So the total firepower of this group is 8. As for machine guns, they have 2 numbers. First one is its firepower and it is also penetration number. The second one is its range. So we can fire on the range of 10 with firepower of 4, while our squads can only fire on the range of 4 with their full firepower, and on the range of 8, which is doubled their original range, with the strength of 2. But we are firing on the range of 2 hexes only, so we can fire with our full firepower of 8. As for penetration, if you have more units on the line of sight and you are using a weapon with penetration factor, you can hit more than just single unit. But we have only 1 unit on our line of sight, because we cannot fire at them, because this hex with a stone building blocks our line of sight to this German commander. So I can only fire on them or on them. So this is 8 and +3 for the stone building, and notice that we have a commander here. This commander has 9, which is his morale, and -1, which is his modifier. He uses this modifier to modify our rolls for fire or for morale checks. So we have 8 +3 and -1, so it will be total of 8 +2. Let's make a roll. We got 1 and 5, 1 and 4, so it's 5, +2, so it's 7. In the charts, 7, in the column of 8, it is 1. This means that Germans have to undergo morale check with a +1 die roll modifier. Their morale is their last number, it is 7. So to make a morale check, we are making 2d6 roll. If we get number which is lower or equal to this number, then they passed the check. If this is higher, they failed and they are broken. And due to the result, we have to add +1 to this morale check. So let's make it. It is 7. Oh! If this will be only morale check, they will pass it because this is 7, but there was +1. And due to this fact, it is 8, so they are broken. They are marked with desperation morale marker, which I will cover later, and they are now broken. We have to mark these guys as prep fired too. And this powerful group here, we have 12 squads of 6 to 8. They are probably the best squads Soviets can get. So what I'm going to do, they are going to make their prep fire on this hex. They have a very small range, only 2 hexes, so they are not very powerful when it comes to the range, but on the close distance they can be quite deadly. So they are firing with 12 and +3 because of the stone building. Let's make it. Ooh, not bad. It is 4 +3, 7. 7. In the column of 12, it is 1 MC. So Germans have to undergo morale check with the modifier of 1. And they failed, so they are broken. It's starting quite good for Soviets. They are prep fired. Okay, and these two, they have these Germans in the range. We can always check the line of sight by linking these hexes and running the line from the middle of the hex of the firing unit to the middle of the hex of the target unit. So we can see there is a line of sight because it is not blocked by any obstacles. But it is 3. And because of the 3 hexes range, they would have to halve their firepower, so they won't be firing with the firepower of 12, but with the firepower of 6. And +3 for the stone building. Not a very good situation. So I am not going to make any more fires, but instead I am going to the movement phase, which is the 3rd phase of the Soviet part of the turn. In this phase, you can move all your units, which are not broken, and not marked as prep fired. So, who I am going to move? First of all, I will start here. This Soviet squad has 4 movement points, because each of your squads have 4 movement points. If they are with commander, they have +2, so they have a total of 6 when they are making their entire movement with commander. But for now we are taking care about these lone squads, so they have 4. And now they are moving here. This is 2, because this is stone building, and entering a stone building costs you 2 movement points. And then they are moving here. This is wood building, and wood building also costs you 2 movement points. So they have spent 4 movement points, which is their entire movement points value. They are finishing their movement here. Next, this group. This unit moves here. This is we have a wood here, and woods cost you 1 additional movement point. So they spent 2 movement points to enter this hex. Not bad. Now, they can continue their movement, but first, German player may declare their fire. This is something which is quite odd in the squad leader. There are 2 ways to resolve opportunity fire. First of all, which is basic for this game, is that you cannot fire during the enemy movement, but you can place counters for tracking the enemy that moved during the given hex, and then you can fire at them in the defensive fire phase. This can be quite clunky, but I'm going to show you how it works to make the game more how to say it, more rules wise. And later, in my later plays, I will probably play with other rule which is mentioned in the rules as optional rule. This rule covers the situation where you can fire with your units during the enemy movement phase. It is, I think, much more dynamic and makes the game a bit more better. But I will cover it in my later videos. Today I am going to keep with original standard rules of the game. So, to make things work, I need to place target marker here. Now I know that enemy moved through this hex, and I will be able to fire at them when they will finish their movement. Now, my other Soviets are going to make other kind of movement. This squad goes here. They are going to continue their movement, but I have to place a target marker here, and they spend 1 movement to go point to go here, and they are spending 2 movement points to go here, so they have 3 movement points now. Now, who else can move? I think them. They are moving 1, 2, and they will remain here to guard these 2 buildings, because these 2 buildings were initially occupied by Soviets, so we need to make sure that Germans won't be able to capture these buildings. Now let's go there, and that's where things go interesting now, because I need to capture this building, and these guards are the right men to do the thing. So I'm going to start my movement. 1, and now I can place a target marker here. 2, and that's all. I don't have to place a target marker here because they are already adjacent to the enemy. Them, they are moving here, so let's place a target marker here, and they spent 2 movement points to enter here. This squad they are moving here. There is already target marker here, and they are moving there. This squad. 1, 2, and 3. Yes, you can move this way because actually there are no zones of control in this game. You are free to move your units as you like adjacent to the enemy forces. Of course, enemy later might fire at you, and firing from the adjacent hexes can be very deadly. But this is your choice. Now this group. I will leave this commander in the building because I feel I will need him to rally some broken units, but this squad moves 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. And this squad is going to move here. So that's all for my Soviet movement. And now we are moving into the German defensive fire phase. In this phase, Germans are free to fire at enemy units that were both moving and weren't moving. But if you are firing on the unit that moved, you might get some nice modifiers. So let's go and resolve German defensive fire. First of all, I'm going to make a fire group with these two stacks here. They are going to target this hex. So what do we have here? We have 4 plus 4, so 8, plus 2, 10, and plus 4, 14. So we have 14. There is no column of 14, so we have to round it down to 12. So we'll be firing with 12 on these Soviets who are in the stone building, so it will be plus 3. So we have 12 plus 3, and we have 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. 9 in the column of 12 is M. Morale check. So both of these Soviet units have to undergo morale checks. First, the upper one, 6, they passed, and the lower one, 6, they passed. Amazing, they made it. So we have to mark Germans with fire, defensive fire, to remember that they already fired, so they won't be able to fire again, because in this game you are firing only once per the half of the turn. So if they fired once during the defensive fire phase, they won't be able to fire anymore, and if they fired during the prep fire phase, they won't be able to fire anymore. Now these Soviets, these Germans, forming a fire group with this stack with light machine gun, and they are targeting this unit. Or maybe not. No, I'm going to do something else. This squad fires on this hex. This Soviet squad moved through this hex, so now they can be targeted by these Germans. They have 4, and enemy moved through the open ground. Because of this fact, you get nice -2 modifier. So we have 4 minus 2. This is 4. Amazing. 4 minus 2 is 2. So we are taking a column of 4 and we are checking the result of 2. This is killed in action. So Soviet unit goes down in flames. They are going to graveyard, and we can already remove this tracker marker. Now this group with light machine gun fires at them. Yeah, they have a penetration value, but they are in the woods. This means that we cannot use this penetration value because woods are blocking line of sight. We can fire into the woods, but we cannot fire through the woods. So we have 6 versus +1 because of the woods. 11. No, this is not a hit. This is a miss, and it was quite close to having our light machine gun being broken, because you can see B12 here. this is breakdown number, and if we will get number which is equal to this number or higher, but you cannot get higher than 12 on the 2d6 roll, then this weapon is broken, which is very bad. So defensive fire, and that's all. Who else? Them. Oh, one more thing. We have this Death Star here. Why this is Death Star? Well, you can tell. We have 3 squads, each armed with a light machine gun and amazing commander with -2. So they are going to target this hex. They have a firepower of 16 in total, +3 for the stone building and -2 for the commander. Amazing, isn't it? So let's do fire. Wow! It's 5 minus +3 and -2. So it's 5 plus 1. So it's 6. 6 in the column of 16. It is 2. This means that Soviets have to undergo morale check with a +2 modifier. Barely, but they failed. So they are broken. Not good. And they are marked as fired. And finally here, we have a couple of situations where we can fire on the approaching Soviets. We can fire at them here, or we can let them move closer and then use our doubled firepower. Because when you are firing on the enemy unit which is on the adjacent hex, you can get your firepower doubled, which is definitely a good thing. So I'm going to make it. I am starting with this squad. They are firing on this hex, so they have 8 and -1 for the commander, -2 for the enemy unit that moves on the open ground, so it's -3. So we have 4 -3, and this is 5. -3 is 2. 2 in the firepower of 4, it is killed in action. So they are definitely heroes of the Soviet Union, but they are going to graveyard. And now here, I am going to fire with my both firepower, with both machine gun and squad, and I am targeting these Soviets. So I have 6, which is doubled to 12, -2 because of Soviets moving in the open ground. So it is 12 -2. Oh my, it's 3. -2, it's 1. I already know that this is killed in action. So that would be all when it comes to the defensive fire phase, right? Yeah, that's right. I don't have any other Germans that have Soviets in their line of sight, or maybe I have. Let's look here down. We have this squad with heavy machine gun and commander, and I think they can fire on this hex. Let's see if they can. This is the problem. Notice that this line of sight moves barely through this corner of this building. In such situations, you never know if you can, if you have a line of sight to the enemy. Sometimes it is recommended to simply make a die roll or toss a coin to if you cannot agree with the with your fellow opponent if there is a line of sight or not. But as for the purpose of my game, I will take this as the line of sight. So they can fire here on this building. This is total firepower of 10, so it will be column of 8 plus 3 and -1. So it's 8 plus 2, and we got 10. Plus 2, it's 12. No, this is a miss. So that would be all when it comes to the German defensive fire. Not very effective at last here, because there it was quite deadly indeed. After all your defensive fire, you have to remove all the defensive fire markers from the board along with target markers because you won't need them anymore. Oh. Okay. And next we are going into the advancing fire phase. In this phase, all the Soviet units might fire, but units marked with prep fire cannot fire. Units that moved can fire, but only with the half of their initial firepower. So, who is going to fire? I think these two guys are going to make a fire group to fire here. They have 4, but like I said, they moved. So they have to halve their firepower, so they will have 2 and 2. So they will fire here with the firepower of 4, plus 3 because of the stone building. Not a likely hit, but it won't hurt to try, because, well, it's going to nothing. Nothing bad is going to happen if you will miss. So it is always worth to try, even if your chances aren't big. Next, this squad. They are firing here. They have 6. It is halved because of the advancing fire, and it is doubled because they are firing on the adjacent hex. So they have 6 plus 3. How it will be? Oh, that's good. It's 3. Plus 3, it's 6. 6 in the column of 6. It is plus 1. So these Germans have to undergo morale check with plus 1. They are already broken. And they get 6 plus 1, so it's 7. Amazing, they passed. Why it is amazing? Because if they will be failed, they will be eliminated. Broken unit that lost morale check is eliminated instantly. Now they are going to fire here. Same situation, 6 plus 3. Nothing. And now them, they are firing here. They have 3 plus 3. So they have 6 plus 3. And this is 5 plus 3, it's 8. Let me see if it is 8 in the column of 6. This is nothing. So this concludes all the advancing fire. So we can now remove all the advancing fire and prep fire markers from the board. And next we will have a road phase. In the road phase you have to move all your units that are marked with desperation morale and are not in the buildings or in the woods, or they are adjacent to the enemy units. So this is Soviet turn, so Soviets have to road first. I have this Soviet squad here. It is broken and it is in the building. It doesn't have to move because it is not adjacent to the enemy unit and it is in the building or in the woods. So it's fine for them to stay where they are. But actually they want to road. They want to road on the hex with this commander because it will make him available to rally them in the rally phase. So they are routing here and they can do it. Why? Because while routing you cannot move closer to the enemy units that can see you and you can see them. While moving on this hex, I am not getting closer to any of the known enemy unit. So that's fine for me to route. And that's all for Soviets. I have no other units to route. And now Germans. I have 2 German broken groups. First one is here. They have their light machine gun and they are broken. They are going to route on this hex. Can they do so? By moving on this hex, they will remain in the building, so that's fine. But are they getting closer to any enemy unit that can see them? Let me see. As for them, they are 1, 2, and they will be 1, 2, nothing. And as for that, they are going to road. And one more important thing, they have to leave their machine gun, because when unit roads, they are simply running away. They are leaving everything that slows them down, and weapons might slow you down. So they are leaving this machine gun alone. And now these Germans, they are adjacent to the enemy, so they have to road. And now they cannot road onto this building because they will be adjacent to the enemy as well. So they have a road to the nearest building, and the nearest building is actually this one or that one. We have already 3 squads here, so we cannot get any more squads onto this building, but I can retreat into this building. So we will going to leave our light machine gun, and I am routing here. No one can see me, and then here. So that's all for the road phase. Next we have advance phase. In the advance phase, all the attackers units might move by the 1 hex only. So what what Soviets are going to do? They are advancing here. They are advancing here, and in the advance phase, it is the only phase where your unit might enter the hex occupied by the enemy. And because of that, you have to mark them as melee, because they are now in the melee. Okay, close combat, that's good. Now them, they are moving here and they are moving there. I'm not going to move onto this hex, because if I will be on this hex, I will be in the line of sight of this Death Star, and that's not something I would like to go. So now they are moving here, they are moving there. This commander, he will go here in case we will need him to do some rallying. And now Soviets there. It's kinda tempting to start my assault onto this building, but most of the Germans here are alright, so assaulting this building will be a very hazardous situation. Really. Not something I would like to do so. So first of all, I am moving this squad here. But I will take my risk and I will move like that. Here, there, and that's all. That's all, not much. So this concludes advanced phase. Next, we are moving into close combat phase. In the close combat phase, we have to resolve any combats that occurs when we have units on the both sides on the single hex, like here. We have 6 and 4, and they are armed with light machine gun. Light machine guns are the only machine guns or any other special weapons that you can use in the close combat. So they have 4 plus 2 because of the machine gun, so it's 6, and Soviets have 6. So this is 6 versus 6, this is 1 to 1. We are going into the close combat table. Our odds are 1 to 1. So the number is 5. We are making rolls for both sides because close combat is resolved simultaneously. And you have to make a roll for each side, and the ones who get the given number, which means 5 or less, can eliminate enemy units. You can, if you have more than one unit, you can decide who is going to attack who. But here we have only one unit versus one unit, so the situation is quite clear. So first roll for Germans, it's 6. Oh, 1 more and they would win, but nothing. And now Soviets, 6 again. What a misfortune. No one achieved anything, so they are bound in close combat and they cannot do much. So this concludes the Soviet part of the turn 1. We are moving into the German part of the turn 1, and now we have to move through the same phases, but with the Germans as active player. We are starting with rally phase, and now we can rally some of our broken troops. First of all, I'm going to start with Germans. This German commander might rally this German broken squad. Only units that are on the hexes with commanders can be rallied, or commanders themselves if they are broken. So this commander tries to rally this squad. They have morale of 7, but they have this nasty desperation morale modifier, which provides +4 to the morale check. So we have to do a morale check for them. It is 9, +4, it is 13, definitely higher than 7. So they remain broken. This German squad has no commander, so it cannot be rallied. Now Soviets. Same situation here. This Soviet squad is on the hex with commander, so it can be rallied. Let's make a roll. 8 +4, it is, well, it's 6 +4, it's 8. It's 10, nothing. And now, at the end of the rally phase, you can remove desperation morale markers from your units as long as your units are not adjacent to the enemy units. Because if the broken unit becomes adjacent to the enemy unit, it gets desperation morale marker again instantly. So now you can tell that it will be easier to rally these units in the next rally phase. Now, we have German prep fire phase. So Germans might try to fire, and of course they are going to do so. I will start here, and I'm firing here. So I have 8 +3 -1. So it's 8 +2. Oh, good. It's 4 +2. It's 6. So it's 8. It's 8 +2. Sorry, it's 4 +2, so it's 6. 6 in the column of 8, it's 1. So each of these Soviet squads have to undergo morale check with +1. Upper one, they passed. Lower one, they passed. Fantastic. What a great Soviets they are. Prep fire goes here. Now these two squads are forming a fire group to fire on this hex. They have 8 and 6, so it is 14, so it will be 12 +3. 10 +3, it is 13. I can already tell this is a miss. No good. Now here, they are firing on this hex, so this is 8. 8 in the column of 8, it is a normal morale check, so 7, they passed. This unit fires on them too, because you can decide if you are going to make a fire group and fire together, or you can fire on the same hex but from the different units independently. So that's what I'm going to do here. I have 6 and I have 10. Nothing. That's not good, because they will be able to fire at me during their defensive fire phase. Now, my Death Star, as I call them, is going to fire here. They have 16, +3 and -2, so it's 16 +1. Oh, hell, it's 2. It's 2 +2. It's 4. 4 in the column of 16. It is killed in action. So Soviets are destroyed. get lost to graveyard. Off you go. And now they have two options: to fire here or to fire there. There is close combat here, so if they will fire onto this hex, both units that are bound in close combat, Germans and Soviets, will be affected by the fire. So we can tell that this is not the best thing to do. I'm going to fire on this hex instead. So I have 8 minus 1. Oh, that was good shot. 4. 4 in the column of 8. Let me see. This is 2. So they have to undergo morale checks with the modifier of 2. Upper one, 8. So they failed because of plus 2. And the lower one, 9. So they failed. So they are broken. That's good. For Germans, of course. And they are marked as prep fired. So that's all for the German prep fire phase. Next we have German movement phase. And as you can see, I haven't much options to move because all of my units were involved in the prep fire, so no movement for Germans. We are skipping movement phase and we are going right into the Soviet defensive fire phase. So where Soviets are going to fire? These 3 are firing here. They have 12 plus 3. 9 plus 2 to 3 is 12. No effect. Defensive fire. Now, these 3 squads are going to fire on this hex. As you can see, they are on the adjacent hexes, so they can form a fire group. And now, they have 8, because they are firing on the adjacent hex, and they have 4 and 4. So I have total firepower of 16 versus 3. 6 plus 3, it's 9. 9. In the column of 16, it is plus 1. So morale check plus 1, and 6 plus 1 is 7. They passed, because they have morale of 7. So that's great. That was some good shooting for Soviets, but Germans made it quite well too. This group targets this hex as well. So I have 8 plus 3 minus 1. So it's 8 plus 2, and sorry, a miss. That's bad. That's very bad. And now here. They haven't any targets for their fire. I can only fire here, but I would I can damage my own squad, so no fire. And now for them, they have 6 and they can fire the target this hex. So yes, that's what they are going to do. Why? There isn't a big chance that I will score anything on them, but they are broken. And if broken unit is fired, even with 1 firepower, and even if nothing happens, it gets desperation morale marker. So it's always worth to fire on the broken units, even if you have a little chance to achieve a hit. So I am firing on them with the firepower of 3, so I will use a column of 2, plus 3 because of the stone building, so it's 8, nothing. But because they were fired, they get a desperation morale marker. Okay. Commander is not under desperation morale, but they are. So that would be all when it comes to the Soviet defensive fire. Yes, that would be all. I haven't any other Soviet units that might make a defensive fire. So I can finish my defensive fire phase, and next we will have German advancing fire phase, but Germans cannot perform any advancing fire because they are already made prep fire with other units that were allowed to make any fire. So next we have a road phase, And now we have quite an interesting situation here. These Soviet units are broken and they have to retreat. And they have to seek a cover in the nearest buildings or woods. But they cannot move on the hexes that are adjacent to the enemy units, and they cannot enter a hexes that are open ground hexes and they are in the line of sight and normal firepower range of the enemy units. This means they effectively cannot retreat. Why? Because, let's see, this hex is out of options because it is adjacent to the German units. This hex is out of options because it is a line of sight and in the normal firepower range of this German squad. And it is open hex. Same goes to this hex and that hex. And this hex is in the open ground and adjacent to the enemy unit. So no hex is an option for them to retreat. And due to this fact, they are eliminated. Sorry guys, but you are going down to graveyard. And I believe that's all when it comes to road phase. Yes, that's all. We don't have any units that are made to road, so that's all for the road phase. And next we have German advance phase. Now, Germans might advance if they want to. So, for example, this squad with a leader might join this close combat, but they don't want to. They don't want to be involved in this close combat because they feel that, of course, they might help, but they would be bound in the close combat they don't want to be bound into. So, they are not going to do so. Next, this commander wants to make a move. He goes here to help these men to rally themselves. And as for the other Germans, I don't have any other things to do with my advance phase, so that's all for the German advance phase. And next we have close combat. We have this close combat to resolve, because close combat is resolved in every close combat phase, so this melee here goes on. We have 6 to 6, so this is 1 to 1, and now Germans 8 nothing, Soviets 8 nothing. So melee continues. And this is the end of the turn 1. We are starting with 10-2. I believe this will go faster now because I talked a lot about the rules, and now you will know some basics. And we are starting with rally phase. Soviets. Do they have anything to rally? Yeah, this commander here. He has a broken squad, so he is trying to rally this broken squad. He got 7, so this is enough. This squad is rallied back to normal. No more Soviet squads to rally, and now Germans. This commander tries to rally this squad. He has modifier of 2, so this will be -2 for him to rally attempt. -2 is 8. Not enough, they remain broken. Now this commander 6, but it is +4, so it's 10. They remain broken. That's all, and now we can remove this rally marker, and this concludes rally phase. Next, we have Soviet prep fire phase. I will try to make a fire group here with these 3 squads. They are targeting this hex, so they have 12 plus 3. 9 plus 3 is 12. 12 in the column of 12, it is nothing. So, prep fire. Who else? They are targeting this hex too, so they have 8 plus 3 minus 1. Oh my! 12. Not only they failed, but they also broke their machine gun. because you can see that this is B11 plus. So if you will get on your dice roll 11 or 12, this machine gun is broken. So we have to flip it on the broken side, and during the rally phase we will be able to try to repair it. If we'll get one on the one die roll, then it will be repaired, and if we'll get 6, it will be eliminated. No good. Anyone else? I think they are going to fire here again, simply to make them get desperation morale marker. So it will be 2 plus 3, 7, no effect, but they get desperation morale on them only, not on the commander. And I think this is going to be all. I don't have anything else where I can do any good fire. Well, maybe here. I'm thinking about it. So I might try to make these 2 squads fire on this hex. So they will have 8 plus 3. Wow! 3 plus 3, it's 6. 6 in the column of 8. This is 1 MC. So Germans 6 plus 1, 7. They passed just by inch, but they passed. They were definitely very lucky this time. So that's all for the German Soviet prep-fire phase. And now we are going into the Soviet movement phase. So this Soviet squad, it wants to go here. Why? Because it will be out of range of these nasty German machine guns. This squad goes here. And this squad moves 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I know it's a risky movement, but I have to do so. I don't have to place track markers because they are already on the first hexes where they can be fired on. So that's all for the Soviet movement phase, and now we have German defensive fire phase. So we are up with movement phase, and next we have German defensive fire phase. I will start here with 8 plus 3 minus 1, so it's 8 plus 2, 6 plus 2 is 8, so it's normal morale check. For the upper Soviet unit, passed, and the lower one also passed. Fantastic. So, defensive fire. This squad with light machine gun fires here. 6 plus 3. 13. Nothing. And of course, this is not a breaking for the light machine gun, because we got 13, but on the die roll we got only 10. Now this medium machine gun with squad fires on them. We have 8 minus 2 because they moved. Wow, that's 3. This is going to be rough. 8, and this is 3. This is killed in action. Another Soviet unit goes to graveyard. And now they are firing here. 8 minus 2. 9 minus 2 is 7. Morale check plus 1. So 6 plus 1, 7. They passed. I have to say that this squad is really something. Who else? They are going to fire on this hex with woods. So this is 6 plus 1. 4 plus 1 is 5. 5 in the column of 6. This is 1. So morale check +1 for Soviets. 4, they passed. Defensive fire. And now this Death Star fires here. This is 16 +3 because commander is busy rallying this unit. So it's 16 +3. Oh wow, it's 3. +3 is 6. 6 in the column of 16 is 2. Morale check +2 for Soviets. 8. So they are broken. And there is let me take the one from here, let me clone this one and let's place it here. Okay, and now them, they are firing on this hex, so they are firing on the adjacent hex, so they have 8 +3 -1, so it's 8 +2, 10. This is a miss. So this concludes all the German defensive fire. Oh, it wasn't very effective. I expected Germans will do better, but well, so this is the war. You never know what is going to happen. Next we have Soviet advance phase. Well, I don't have many units that might perform advancing fire, so they are going to fire here. They have 6 +3. Oh hell, that's amazing. It's 2 +3, it's 5. 5 in the column of 6. It is 1 MC. So German commander, he passed, and now he can use this his own modifier to help his men during the morale check. So it was +1 and -1 because of the commander. So it's 12. Oh my, guys, you are broken. Commander wasn't bad, but he couldn't help them with such a poor roll. Okay, and now here. They are firing here, so they have 8 +3. Oh, I think I forgot to place prep fire marker here. Sorry, my mistake. So it is 4 +3. 8, nothing. So this concludes advancing fire. I think it wasn't bad. At last we scored 1 hit, and it's not easy to score a hit during the advancing fire phase. And now we have a road phase. So Soviets are first to road. So this squad roads on the hex with commander, because he will help them to rally, and that's all for Soviets. And now Germans. This German's commander is not broken, but he can, if he wants, he can road with his broken unit together, and that's what he's going to do. They are routing here. They can road because this hex is not in the line of sight of any Soviet unit, and they are routing here. So that's all for the road phase. Yes, that's all for the road phase. Next we have Soviet advance phase, and this squad advances here. They are going to join this fray. So now Germans will be in the definitely harder situation with fighting against 2 Soviet squads. This squad goes here. They are also starting close combat, and this squad moves here. That would be all for the advance phase. And now we have close combat. First we have here these 2 squads fighting against each other. So they have 4 versus 4, it is 1 to 1. So 5 is the number we are looking for. For Germans, nothing. For Soviets, nothing. Now here, the situation changed. We have 12 versus 6. So this is now 2 to 1 for Germans, for Soviets, and the Germans decide that they are targeting only a single hex, a single unit of the Soviets. So they have 6 versus 6, so they will have 1 to 1. So Soviets need 7 or less, and they are rolling 7. So now Germans are destroyed, but even so, Germans can still perform their attack. So they have 6 versus 6, so this is 1 to 1, and 8, nothing. So because of that, German unit goes to graveyard, and this close combat is done. And that's the end of the Soviet actions in the turn 2. We are now going to Germans. So this is the second part of the turn 2, and we are moving to Germans. We are starting with rally phase, and now who is going to rally? Germans first. This squad, but they have +4. Not an easy check, but 7, nothing. Here we have an interesting situation. We have 2 squads, one of them with Desperation Morale and one with not. There are 2 leaders, one with -2, one and -1. So we can use this leader with -2 to rally both of these squads. First, the one without Desperation Morale marker. Ooh, nothing. And now the one with Desperation Morale marker. Nothing. Ooh, that's very bad. And that's all for Germans. Now Soviets, they are trying to rally this squad. 7, but +4, nothing. So we can remove Desperation Morale markers. At last, from the hexes that are not adjacent to the enemy units, but we don't have any. So that's all. Next, we have German prep fire phase. So who is going to prep? I think them. They are going to target this hex, so they have 6 and 8. So this is 14, so they are firing with 12 plus 3, 11. Nothing. No good, no good. I think that Germans are not doing very well indeed, and I will have to think about their tactics. Maybe I will have to change something, because so far Soviets suffered massive losses, but they are going on. Now Death Star fires here. They have 16 plus 3. Oh, they are lucky. 4 plus 3 is 7. 7 in the column of 16. This is 2 MC. So the first Soviet squad, they are broken. Break, break, break. And the other squad, 9. They are also broken. No, that's bad. That's very bad. And they are marked as prep fire. Who else? They are firing here with 8 plus 2, 6. This is 8, so this is normal morale check. Upper Soviet squad, broken. Lower Soviet squad, fine. So only the one Soviet squad is broken. The other one is fine. Anyone else? Yeah, them. They are targeting these Soviets in the woods. 6 plus 1. 7, 10, nothing, no effect. Too bad. There was enough of good shooting for Germans. I think that's all. They are broken, nothing. So we have we have German prep fire phase concluded, and now we have German movement phase. I think I will move this squad with a leader, and they are moving 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, and 4.5, and that would be all for their movement. And this concludes German movement phase. Yeah, this concludes German movement phase. So next we have Soviet defensive fire phase. And now, Soviets have a limited number of situations where they can actually fire. This squad fires here. This is 3 plus 3. No effect, but they get desperation morale marker on them. So defensive fire. They are firing here 4 plus 3. No effect. They are also firing here 4 plus 3. 7, no 8, no effect. And I believe they haven't range to anywhere. So this concludes German Soviet defensive fire phase. So advancing fire phase, and as for Germans, only this group can perform advancing fire. They have 4 because they are firing on the adjacent hex, plus 3 and minus 1, so it's 4 plus 2. 11, nothing. So that's all for advancing fire. And now we are going to do a road phase. So who is going to road? First of all, this squad roads here. So let me make it. This squad goes here along with desperation morale. The other one is also. Now them. They have to road, and they have to road on the nearest cover hex. So I think the best hex is here. So that's what they are going to do. Machine gun remains on that hex, and this is all. They are not roading. So that's all for the road phase. Next we have German advance phase. This German group enters here. They are retaking this building. That's pretty good for them, and I don't think I have to do any other advance. So yeah, this concludes advance phase, and we are going into close combat. We have one close combat here to resolve. It's 4 versus 4, so both sides need 5. Germans, nothing. Soviets, nothing. And this concludes turn 2. We are going into turn 3, starting with rally phase. Soviets. This squad without desperation morale marker, 8, nothing, and the one with desperation morale marker, nothing. Germans. They have -2 because of this commander, so first squad, they are rallied, and the other squad, they are rallied. So both squads are back to normal. Okay, now this commander tries to rally the squad. 8 plus 4, nothing. So we can remove desperation morale marker from here, from there, but it remains here because they are adjacent to the enemy units. And that's all for the rally phase. That's all? No, Oh, I almost forgot that we have a machine gun and that needs to be repaired. So let's make a roll. It's 4, nothing. Okay, so that's all. And now we are going into the Soviet prep fire phase. So do I want to do any prep fire? I think they will try to prep fire here. They have 8 plus 3. That's pretty good shot. It's 7. In the 8 it's 1 MC. So morale check plus 1. Germans are broken. Okay, that's not bad. Prep fire and prep fire. Anyone else? I think I will continue to spraying this hex with fire. It's 3 plus 3, 4, it's 7. In the column of 2 it's nothing, but they get this nasty desperation morale marker. And prep fire. So that would be all when it comes to the advancing fire. Prep fire. Now we have to go with Soviet movement phase. So I will leave this broken machine gun on this hex, and the commander with squad moves 1 and 2. Now this squad moves 1. That's all. They are broken, and this commander he will move here. So that's all for the movement phase. Now defensive fire phase. They are firing here, so they have 6 plus 3, and they are doubled, so they have 12 plus 3. 8. 8 in the column of 12, it is 1 MC. So commander, he passed, his men, they passed. So no effect. Defensive fire. So who is going to do defensive fire next? I think them. They are going to fire at these Russians with 8 plus 2. 8 and 8, normal morale check for Russians, and 11, they are broken. So defensive fire, and this 6 fires here, 6 plus 3, it's 10, no effect. And my Death Star. Death Star fires here, 16 plus 3. It's 13. No effect. That's bad. And finally here, we have 8 plus 3 minus 1. So 8 plus 2, nothing. I think this is the end of the German defensive fire. Right? Right. That's all. So that's all when it comes to the German defensive fire. And now Russian advancing fire. Let me see. They can do defensive fire here. And, oh, one more thing. They enter this hex, so they can take this machine gun, because when you move onto the hex occupied where is special weapon that is not belong to anyone, you can take it right by moving onto this hex. So now they are using it to fire on these Germans with their own machine gun. So they are going to fire with 6, and they have their strength halved because of the advancing fire and doubled because of the adjacent hex. So they have 6 minus 1 plus 2 plus 3, so it is 6 plus 2, and this is 5 plus 2, 7. 7 in the column of 6. It is morale check. So German commander, he passes, and now soldiers, they failed, so they are eliminated. Okay, and that's advancing fire. Anyone else? They cannot. They fired. Well, they can. They can fire here with 4 and plus, so it's 2 and plus 3. No effect. So that's all for the advancing fire phase. We can remove advancing and prep fire markers, and now we have road phase. And now they have to road because there are Germans on the adjacent hex, so they are routing here. I believe that no Germans can see them on this hex, so they can route, and now they are routing onto this hex with their commander nearby. Next, they are routing here, and these Germans are routing there. They have to leave their light machine gun, their medium machine gun on the hex, and that would be all when it comes to the road phase. Next we have advance phase. And now do I want to advance with Soviets? Yes, I want to advance here, and I want to advance there. I am also going to advance here, and they are all broken, so no advance allowed. Now that would be all when it comes to the advance. And now close combat. First of all, we have close combat here. We have 4 versus 1, because when commander is alone, he has a strength of 1. So this is 6 minus 1 versus 1, so it's 6 to 1. So this is 10, what Germans needs, and what Soviet needs. And German commander attacks Soviet squad, so it is 1 to 4. So he needs 3. So Soviets, he is eliminated, and now German commander, nothing. So he is out to graveyard. The next close combat goes here. We have 4 attacking 8 versus 4, so it is 2 to 1, and the Germans are attacking single Soviet squad, so it is 1 to 1. So Soviet needs 7 and Germans need 5. Soviets 8, nothing, and the Germans nothing. So melee goes on. And that's all when it comes to the Soviet part of the turn 3. We are going to the turn to the German part of the turn 3. And now a rally phase. Now they are all fine. They are fine. So only they, but they cannot be rallied because there is no commander around. So I can remove Desperation Morale. I should remove this marker. And now here Soviets. He tries to rally these 2 units without Desperation Morale. So first, nothing. Second, nothing. And the one with Desperation Morale, 4, nothing. so I can remove the inspiration morale. And now he tries to rally these two units. They have morale of 8, but they have desperation morale. So first one, he is rallied. Amazing. And the other one, he is also rallied. Ooh, they are great. So he made it. And that's all for the rally phase. Next we are going to the German prep fire phase. So these Germans are firing here. They have 6 versus 3. It is 7. 7 in the column of 6. It is morale check. Soviets made it. Who else? Well, them. They are firing here, so they have 12 plus 3, and they have 8. 8 in the column of 12. It is 1 MC. So for the Soviet leader, he passes, and for the Soviet squad, they passed. Soviets are doing just fine. They cannot see anyone. Now my Death Star. Death Star fires here, so I have 16 plus 3. 7. Oh, that's quite good. 7 in the column of 16. This is 2. So Soviet leader, he is broken, and his men, they are also broken. Oh, that's all for the Soviet luck. And anyone else? They cannot see anyone, they can't see anyone, and they can't see anyone. So that's all for the German fire. Now, German movement. This group moves here, and they are taking this machine gun with them. And they are going to stay here. Now this squad with commander moves 1, 2, and they are going to remain here. Finally, this stack with commander moves 1, 2, 3. 2. Sorry. No. This is a road. And when you are moving down the road, you spend a half of movement points. So it's 1, 1.5, and that would be all. Finally, this commander, he goes 1 and 2, and this squad, they are going to carry their heavy machine gun. And heavy machine gun is, well, heavy. That's the problem. And heavy machine gun has 5 portage points, and squad can only carry 4 portage points without the loss of their movement points. And since they have to carry it, they can only use 3 movement points. So they are moving 1, 2, 3. And that's all for the movement phase. We are going into the defensive fire phase. So these Soviets fire here. They have 4, and they are in the wood building, so it's +2. So it's 4 plus 2, 10, nothing. Next, they are firing here, 6 plus 3. Oh, that's very good. It's 3. 6, and in the column of 6, it is 1 MC. So Sergeant gets 6, he passed, and his men 4, they passed. That's great. They are just fine. Anyone else? I don't think so. Soviets have no other opportunities. Well, they declare they want to fire at this hex. I think they have a line of sight, but let me check. Yeah, they have. But they have a range of 2, so they will fire with their firepower halved. So they have 6 and 6, so they have 3 and 3. So they are firing on this hex with the firepower of 6 of total, plus 3 and minus 2 because of the commander. So it's 6 plus 1, 8, plus 1, 9, nothing. So this concludes defensive fire. Now we have German advancing fire. They are firing here, and now they have 4, so it's 2, and 2, so it's 1. So they have 3. So this is 2 minus 1 plus 3. So it's 2 plus 2, nothing. Next, they are firing on this hex. So they have 4 plus 3 minus 2. So it's 4 plus 1. Nothing. And they are firing here. They cannot use heavy machine gun during the advancing fire phase, so they can only fire with 2 plus 3. No, nothing. So this concludes advancing fire phase. And now we have road phase. These Soviets cannot road because they are adjacent to the enemy, and all the other hexes are adjacent to the enemy units as well. And because of that, they are eliminated. Off to graveyard you go. That's all when it comes to the road phase. Yes, that's all when it comes to the road phase. So next we have advance phase. So this commander advances here. This squad advances here. And that's all. So close combat. And now we have different situation. We have now 6, 10 versus 4. So this is 1-to-1 again. And now both sides need 5. So Soviets 7, Germans 10. No effect. Close combat continues. And this concludes turn 3. We are going into turn 4. And we are starting with rally phase. So Germans, yeah, this commander tries to rally this squad. 6. They are rallied. They are fine. They are fine. They are fine. And Soviets. He has 3 squads here, so first squad, no effect. Second squad, rallied. Third squad, rallied. So 2 of these squads are back to normal. 1 remains broken. That's all. Next we have prep fire phase. So, what Soviets can do? I believe they are in a very bad situation. They lost control over this building, and they have a little chance to capture this building. So they are pushed on their initial positions with heavy losses and no effect. I think they are going to lose this battle. And now I am firing here with them. Let's say they have a total firepower of 6 because of halving, and plus 3 minus 2. So 6 plus 1. Nope, that's 9, so it's nothing. So they will try to attack here as well. 6 plus 3, 8, no effect. Who else? Well, nothing, no one. That's all for the prep fire. Next we have Soviet movement phase. They are moving here, and that's all. This squad 1, 2, 3. This squad 1, 2, and that's all. So German defensive fire phase. A German squad with machine gun fires here, so it is 6 minus 2. It's 2. Oh hell. 2 in the column of 6. It's killed in action. They are dead. It goes differently when you can make your defensive fire during enemy movement. Trust me, this is completely different situation, and I think in my next video I'm going to use this rule, so you will see what is the difference. So now we have 10 plus 3, so it's 6 in the column of 8. It is 1 MC. It's 7. They are fine. Death Star 16 plus 3, 10 in the column of 16. Is it something? Yes, this is morale check. And they passed. Clone. Now they are firing here, so they have 6 plus 3 minus 1. 6 plus 2, nothing, and we get natural 12, so this means our light machine gun breaks. I will put it on the top of the stack to remember about it. Now they have 4. They don't have this light machine gun because they weren't moving, so they have 4 plus 3 minus 2, so it's 4 plus 1 and 6. 6 in the column of 4. This is morale check. They passed. So I think that's all for the defensive fire, right? Next we have advancing fire. Well, they can try. Here 4, so it's 2 plus 3. It's 6. 6 in the column of 2. 1 less if it would be a hit, but now it is a miss. They can't see anyone. So that's all for the advancing fire. Next we have road phase. I believe there is no road for anyone. Yeah. So next we have advance phase. So they are joining this battle. This melee really goes into epic scale. And anyone else wants to? I think yes, they are going. No, they need to stay here because otherwise Germans will be able to size these buildings. This one, that one, and this one. They are all the buildings that the Soviets were at the beginning of the game. So no movement for them. And that would be all. Well, no, they are moving here. And they are moving there. So that's all for the advance, and next close combat. So here, what do we have here? We have 3 Soviet squads with 12 and 2 German squads and machine gun with 10. So this is 1-to-1 for both sides. So again 5 For Germans, for Soviets, no effect, melee goes on. And now turn for Germans. Rally phase. This commander rallies this unit. He made it, so they are back to normal. And the Germans try to repair this light machine gun. 3-0. I believe no one else has to rally. No one. So that's all. Next we have prep fire phase. So they are firing here with 8+3. No effect. They are firing here too. 6+3. No effect. And they are firing here with 4+1. No effect. Oh. Death Star fires here 16+3. It's 10. So it is normal morale check. I think yes, that's morale check. And Soviets made it. Quite impressive. They are firing on them, so this is 4-1. It's 6. 6 in the column of 4. This is morale check. They passed. And this covers all the German prep fire phase. Next we have German movement phase. They are moving here and they are taking this medium machine gun. I wonder if I have anything else to do. I think no, that would be just fine. So that's the entire German movement. And now Soviet defensive fire. They are firing here with 4. A little chance, but, well, no effect. It was predictable. They have 12 and -2 and +3, so 12 +1. This can be roof. 8. 8+1 is 9. 9 in the column of 12. This is morale check. So German commander, he made it, and his men 11. No, they are broken. They are firing here 6+3. Wow, natural 2. It is 5 in the column of 6. It is 1 MC. Leader, he is broken. And the squad, they are just fine. Oh, that was close, because if they would be they would be broken, they would be eliminated. So that's all when it comes to the Soviet defensive fire. Yes, so let's remove these markers. German advancing fire. Well, they can fire here, but not with medium machine gun, because you can only use light machine guns for advancing fire. So it will be 2 -1 +3. So 2 + 2. 8. No effect. And that's all for the German advancing fire. Next we have German rally phase, and well, there is a commander here, so he can stay here. They can stay here, and that's what they are going to do. There are no enemy units on the adjacent hexes, so they are staying here. And now German advance phase. So they are advancing here, but I think the leader will remain, or maybe not. No, let him go. They move here, and that's all for the German advance and close combat. We have 12 versus 10, right? 12? No, versus 10. So it's Germans. Oh, I think I made a mistake here when I calculated odds before, because Soviets have 12 versus 8 versus 10. So it's 1 to 1. So they need 5, right? No? And now Germans have 10 versus 12. So it is not 1 to 1, but 1 to 2. So they need 4. 6. No effect. I think it doesn't affect any rolls I made before, because all of them were quite high, but still it was my mistake to wrongly calculate these odds. And that's all when it comes to the German part, and we are moving right into the turn 5, which is the last turn of the game. We are starting with rally phase. This commander tries to rally himself 7, but plus 4, so he failed. I can only remove this marker. Any other Germans, all of them are fine. Soviets, also all of them are fine. Now, Soviet prep fire phase. So they are firing here. They have 12 plus 3 minus 2. So 12 plus 1. 8 plus 1 is 9. 9 in the column of 12. This is morale check. So German leader, he made it, and his men, they made it. Oh, that's very bad for Soviets, because that was one of my last chances to do anything in this building. Now all I can do is to fire with them. There will be 12 plus 3. No effect. Oh, this is complete disaster now. This squad fires here, 4 plus 3, nothing. So that's all for the prep fire. Let's put this on the top of the stacks. Soviet movement phase. I have only this squad that can move, actually, and it cannot do much, save to moving here. And that's all for the Soviet movement. And now German defensive fire. 8 plus 3, nothing. They have 6, and they are going to do fire group. This means they won't be able to use their commander, because commander is only with this stack. He is not with this stack, so he cannot provide his modifier for the entire fire group. So they have 6 and they have 6, so it's 12. 12 plus 3, nothing. They are firing here. They have 4, -2 and +3, so it's 4 + 1, 8, no effect. Oh, sorry. I cloned the entire stack, and I only wanted to clone defensive fire marker. Okay, now they are firing here. So this is 4 and -1, so it's 8 -1, and 8, so it's 7, so it's 1 MC. So this squad, they passed, and the other squad, I think there was only one squad here. I think I made a mistake with taking 2. I think I cloned them wrongly. Yeah, I do a clone, and that's why they appeared here. So anyway, they passed. So no effect, and my Death Star fires here. 16 + 3, it's 12, no effect. So that's all for German defensive fire. Soviet advancing fire, only them can try. They are firing here with 2 + 3, no effect. So this concludes advancing fire. And now we have road phase. No one has to road. And next we have advance phase. They are advancing onto this hex, causing close combat. And yeah, I made the same mistake as well with cloning commander. And they are I think only squad arrives here. So now they have to take Desperation Morale because they are adjacent to the enemy unit. And now here, nothing. So close combat. First of all, here 6 versus 4, because commander is used in the close combat only if he's fighting alone. Otherwise, he can only use his modifier. So it will be 6 versus 4, but the Germans will have -1. So this is 6 versus 4, so it is 1 to 1. So Soviets need 5, 11, and Germans are 4 versus 6, so it's 1 to 2. So they need 4, but they have -1 because of the leader, and 7, nothing. Now here, Soviets have 12, so they need 5. Oh, that was close, but nothing. And the Germans need 4, nothing. So the melee continues. And that's all for Soviets. And we are going to play the last half of this game because now it is German rally phase. So German commander here tries to rally himself, and he made it. Fantastic. And now he can rally his men. Nope. And they have to keep this Desperation Morale marker because of being adjacent to the enemy units. Now German prep fire phase. Here 8 + 3, 7, 1 MC, and 7, nothing. Prep fire. Here 12 + 3, It's 10. I think it's nothing, but let me check. Yeah, that's nothing. They are firing here, so they have 4 plus 3 minus 1. It's 6 in the column of 4. This is morale check. Soviet commander, he made it. Soviet troops, they made it. Here, they are broken, so they cannot fire. My Death Star fires here, so it's 16 plus 3. Ooh, 12. Ha! You know what it means? All these machine guns are broken. That's horrible. Luckily, this is the end of the game, otherwise it will be disaster. Because we were firing with all these machine guns, so all of them are broken. Oh, that's bad. And this that's the end of the prep fire, I think. Yeah, no one else can fire. And now Soviet German movement, and Germans are not moving. Soviet defensive fire, so 8 plus 3, it is 8, normal morale check. German commander, he passed. German troops, they passed. So defensive fire. Here 12 plus 3, 10, no effect. And now 6 plus 3 minus 2, so it's 6 plus 1. It's 7 in the column of 6. It is normal morale check. For the German leader, he's fine. For his men, they are fine. And this concludes Soviet defensive fire. German advancing fire, no advancing fire for Germans. So, road phase. They have to road, and they are routing with a leader. So they are routing together on this hex. This is safe hex, and right into this building. That's all for the for the road phase. Next we have German advance phase. And I think that this leader will join this battle along with his squad. So we will have 3 squads here. This is the limit for each side. And now we have 2 close combats to resolve. First here we have 6 versus 4, so it's 1 to 1. No, sorry, this is 3 to 1. Oh, my mistake. So they need 6. Nothing. And the Germans have 1 to 2, but minus 1 for the leader. So they need 4. Nothing. And now here, there comes a funny situation. Because Germans have 12 and Soviets have 12. No, sorry. Germans have 14 and Soviets have 12. So now Germans have 1 to 1 and minus 2 for the leader. So they need 5. And they got 8 minus 2. This is 6. Oh hell. 1 less and it will be a victory. And now Soviets have 12. They decide to attack Germans together. So it will be 1 to 2. So they need 4. And nothing. If Soviets would win, they would be able to size this building at the end of the game. And if they will you know, that's why I played until the end of the game, because if Soviets would win this close combat and that close combat, they would actually win the game. Yeah, this sounds almost impossible, but yes, they would capture this building and that building, and these were two buildings controlled at the beginning of the game by Germans. So Soviets would be victorious, but they needed incredibly a lot of luck to win these two close combats. Well, they won't any. So this is the end of the game. Now we can see who is going to be victor. Well, Soviets failed to win because they are not holding any of the buildings controlled at the beginning of the battle by Germans. So Germans managed to avoid Soviet victory conditions, and due to this fact, Germans are victorious. I think they played very passive. Germans could try to be more aggressive. The only moment where they tried to be aggressive was here and there. I think they could try to attack here because Soviets weren't very strong here, and with the bit of luck they would be able to capture this building, and then there would be a clear road to capture this and that building. All these three buildings were controlled by Soviets at the beginning of the game, and capturing them will be disaster for Soviets. But Germans opted to defend their positions, and they did it. They did it well. So that would be the end of the game. Like I said before, if you noticed any mistakes, tell me, I will be grateful. And well, I think that's all. This is the end of the game and the end of the battle. It was pretty fast. That's what I like, because when I played Advanced Squad Leader, it was very long. There are different levels of defensive fire that are slowing the game a lot. And here you can see that units can fire only once per their half of the turn. So definitely they are virtually firing 2 times per turn, which makes the game much faster. They are not getting halved. When they are broken, and then when they are broken again, they are simply eliminated. So especially for the Soviets, you can see that their losses are, well, amazing. You can see here we have Soviet graveyard and German graveyard. Oh, the difference is visible. So that would be everything I wanted to do today. And I think this is not the last squad leader video I'm going to make. Let's have a hope I will be able to do more. But thank you and goodbye.